that I choose to dress myself or the way that I choose to portray myself to the outside world. And I feel like modesty is a word that should be defined by every individual. The headscarf isn't really like a crown that I've reached some type of, you know, like spiritual level or like spiritual awakening, but it's more so a symbol that I strive to always be the best person that I want to be. I started wearing it when I was in junior high for personal reasons. But before that, I felt so alienated from society because of the Islamophobia I was enduring that I hid the fact that I was a Muslim. I heard my first racial slur when I was in 4th grade. One of my classmates taunted me by saying that my people throw rocks at tanks. And it was like right after 9/11. 9/11 happened when I was 9 years old. Now, today, me wearing a headscarf is my rejection of the male gaze. It's a rejection of this like hypersexualization of women in our society. And it's also a defiance of Islamophobia. My family is from Jordan. I traveled to the Middle East for the first time when I was 13 years old. I was just struck by how hospitable everyone was, how nurturing and kind the people that I was meeting there were. And I saw with my own eyes what an Arab society or a Muslim society was like. And it made me realize just how different reality was from the way it was being portrayed on the news here. I decided that when I came back to the United States, I wanted to wear a headscarf. I felt so much pride in where I came from and what my background heritage was that, yes, I wanted people to know before they even knew what my name was, when they saw me, that I am of that people, that I'm a Muslim woman.
What are the assumptions that you think people make about you when they first see you?
That I'm voiceless, that somebody in my family must have forced me to put this on. There's no way I could have wanted to on my own.
Is that true?
Absolutely not.
Does your mom wear one?
No. I remember I was in the passenger seat of my mom's car. She was driving me to school one morning and the cops pulled her over for like speeding or something like that. And he was talking to my mom normally, like blah, blah, blah. And then he like bends over and takes a look inside and sees me sitting in the passenger seat wearing a headscarf. And then turns back to my mom and says, "Do y'all speak English?" Like after already having been in this conversation with her, they think that they can just like mistreat me and I will be like docile and helpless. The most basic nature of the concept of hijab is that it's a personal relationship with God and no one else has any say in the matter besides the woman that's using it. And also the concept of hijab is not limited to women either. There is a definition of hijab for men as well. And men are expected to uphold hijab just as much as women. We're not a monolith. And it's unfair for us because then it places this undue expectation on Muslim women, especially Muslim women that wear headscarves, to be perfect. And that we have to be these upstanding symbols of everything Islam represents when we're also human beings. There are so many people that like pick and choose the harshest possible interpretation of things and try to apply that today in ways that it just will not go. But people want it to be convenient. They want it to be convenient for their political agendas. They want it to be convenient for the status quo that benefits them or the privileges that benefit them in society. And it's something that we have to push back against every day. I still remember when Laura Bush made that iconic speech in 2001 where she said that Afghani women were oppressed and we need to rescue them from this barbaric society in which they have no voice. And she used that as a pretense for us to go to war in one of the most devastating wars that completely destroyed a nation and most adversely impacted Afghani women and children than anyone else. Yes, I experience discrimination every single day. Like it sucks because our definition of terrorism is so limited. And as we saw with like the Orlando shooting, only comes to define brown people. Like we don't consider any crimes of terrorism committed by white people as terrorism. What about like the fact that thousands of mass shootings have happened on our soil by people that look white, that are male, and we never call that terrorism? We perceive that only Muslims or only brown people are doing all the killing, when really like we're neglecting all the other like violence that's happening around us that's a result of so many societal ills that we're completely sweeping under the rug, because it's much easier to blame some type of like abstract outside enemy than it is to really turn inward and address those issues that we have within ourselves.